How does that work, Dana? Because I see a lot of people, like, people always bring up the fighter pay with the UFC, but what's like, isn't Logan complaining right now that he didn't get his checks from Floyd? Is that like a boxing issue versus
you don't
a
ever
boxing thing?
You don't ever hear that coming out.
To this day,
you hear a guy
right
going,
now,
I want to make $30 million, I didn't get paid enough. You don't ever hear guys going, yeah, they didn't pay me yet, ever.
Is that like a boxing issue?
Well, here's what happens when you go in and you do these fights, and you make them. And Hunter, correct me if I'm wrong. You do these fights that are exhibitions or whatever. The commission isn't overseeing it. So let's say I did a fight with Mike. I got Mike fighting, Francis or something. The athletic commission gets the money up front, so they pay the fighters.
Either way, the last thing you nearly need in your life is for things to go wrong and you were showing off how you were a big shot financially when you didn't have to, really. You didn't have to do that. And now you have this egg on your face and things are falling apart. And now people are wondering, did you get screwed or was it your own financial ignorance?
Now, he's accused in multiple lawsuits, all right, of owing millions for luxury watches, gold, and rent as well on the apartment that we just talked about, okay? And so he's got about, I want to say, I counted about 6 lawsuits.
Dana White criticized Floyd Mayweather for going after another Manny Pacquiao fight, saying it's mainly about money. He called the situation sad and even questioned Mayweather's financial status.
They do what they got to do and say what they got to say to try to, to get in there and make money. It's not even going to be funny. It's going to be bad.
Logan Paul claims Floyd Mayweather still owes him money from their exhibition fight, hinting at possible financial issues and raising questions about Mayweather's current financial situation and commitments.
We ended up doing the fight in the States with a different company. That is the company that put on the fight. That is the company that paid me. But he sold our fight with my name and likeness to someone else in Dubai for $10 million cash. It's our fight, bro. Our deal was 15%. He smoked me. So I got 15% of it. 15% of $10 million is $1.5 million. Mm-hmm. That company that paid him that money is suing him. I actually don't know the status on that lawsuit. I should check in because he still owes me money, but he has a bunch of legal trouble at the moment. That I don't think I'm ever getting the money.
He just sold his house in Vegas.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I think he's facing a bunch.
Rinsed on that house. He started at $14 million. He custom built the house, by the way, in like 2006.
Yeah.
Started at 14, reduced to 12,
yeah.
10, 8 came on the market, and it was a lot of house for 8.
Dana White stated that Floyd Mayweather made enormous money throughout his career, with his biggest payday coming from his blockbuster fight against Conor McGregor.
What's the biggest fight you've ever had? Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, which ironically is a boxing event, but it's the biggest combat sports fight ever. What did that gross? It did 4.4 or 4.5 million buys at $100 a buy. Yeah, so that worked out okay. It did.
According to Wade Plemons, Floyd Mayweather mismanaged his money early on and, after his prime, kept returning to boxing through exhibition fights to rebuild his finances.
It was way back, again, 5 years ago now, but that was like the initial rumblings around that fight. And what Floyd did was use Mayweather Promotions to bring them this fight and say, if you'll front us this money, we'll put this fight here. They fronted him the money. He took the money, had the fight at the Hard Rock in Miami with Fanmio instead. That was the company that put it on, Fanmio. And Logan saw none of that front end 10 mil, and the people that paid Floyd the 10 mil never saw a dime back. It's nasty work what he did. But this has been like one of Floyd's MOs, is that he leverages his fight name or his quote unquote assets, and which is what, a lot of wealthy people do. They leverage their assets to take out bigger loans or, whatever. But Floyd does it in such a reckless way that no one ever sees return on it. He just takes money. It isn't a loan, he's stealing.
Joe Rogan said Floyd Mayweather spent his money carelessly, living a very lavish lifestyle and treating his earnings like they would never run out, which may have caused financial pressure.
That's crazy. So you buy a watch and a car, you're down 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
Crazy.
I remember Iran Barkley was talking about that. Iran Barkley, when he was in his prime, was hanging out with all these professional athletes, and everybody was getting diamond crusted chains and this and that, and he was keeping up with these people. Like, you got to keep up with the Joneses. And he just found himself like draining all of his money. He was talking about it like that was the biggest detriment to him being able to save any money.
They trying to keep up.
Yeah, which I thought was funny when I was listening to this conversation with Chad Ochocinco. He was talking about it. He was like,
his jewelry fake.
Yeah, he was wearing fake jewelry.
But who would know?
What's that?
Who would know? He
No
Chad
one know.
Ochocinco.
Exactly.
It's
Fake
like when
jewelry,
they look at him like
flying economy. He was sleeping at the stadium.
Teddy Atlas says some people feel a sense of satisfaction seeing Floyd struggle now because he spent years showing off his wealth and making others envious of his lifestyle.
People taking shots at a great fighter, Mayweather. Probably the same people that were, applauding him and saying how great he was at one point, and now they're taking shots at him like they're almost, like they get pleasure out of seeing a great fall. Potentially
You're right.
fall. Oh yeah, like you said, he was Mayweather, Money Mayweather, and now he's suing because he went through his money, he blew his money, whatever. Look, I don't know what the truth is fully in there. I know Steven Espinoza was named. He ran Showtime at the time. He was named him. I never was a fan of Espinoza. Again, I'm not afraid to say and not mince my words when I feel a certain way. And I've taken arrows for it, and of course I've also taken some praise for it. That people say, "Hey, Teddy's going to say what he feels." I was never a fan of him. I never thought he was a man that kept his word. I never thought he really did a great job over at Showtime. I mean, they put some good fights on because the fights were available, because the landscape made it available.
Dan Raphael explains that the financial concerns around Floyd Mayweather Jr. are not surprising when you look closely at his career and lifestyle. He says anyone paying attention could have predicted this outcome based on how openly Floyd managed his wealth. Throughout his career, Mayweather built an image around luxury and excess, constantly showing off private jets, expensive cars, designer items, and lavish vacations, making it a key part of his public identity.
I will contact my people again later, and hopefully I can get it this afternoon to actually read the specifics of the suit and what the allegations are. But the fact that Floyd would encounter some financial issues post his boxing career is not in any way a surprise to me. When you see the types of things that, if you believe anything that he puts on his social media, the travel that he does, the places he goes, and the amount of entourage he has, I mean, that's like a money pit. I mean, whether you're flying on private jets or you're staying at first class hotels or you're, buying expensive jewelry and cars and bags and you name it. I mean, it's all good when you're making those gigantic paydays and they're coming in, a couple times a year. You're making 40 million here and 25 million there, or even more, 100 million plus, when he fought the big mega fights with guys like Conor McGregor and Manny Pacquiao. But when that stops, that money it goes.
While this lifestyle created an image of success and power, it also raised concerns about long-term financial stability. Dan Raphael explains that maintaining such luxury requires smart planning, especially after retirement when income slows down. Without proper management, even huge earnings can fade over time. The real issue isn't how much money was made, but how it was handled and saved. Now, with reports of financial pressure and continued exhibition fights, the situation seems to reflect those earlier concerns, showing the importance of discipline beyond a successful boxing career.
The allegations about the 340 million, it just didn't ring true to me, because Al Heyman, who is not named in the suit, but apparently is supposedly part of this problem, whatever. But I mean, I've known Al Heyman and covered Al Heyman's fighters and his business since the day he stepped in boxing in like 2002 with Vernon Forrest. And all that time, and literally in terms of the PBC, a couple hundred fighters that he's dealt with, maybe not personally, but that his team is and his company. To a fighter, you never hear anybody, even when they're retired and they're not with Al anymore, nobody talks bad about him. In fact, if you ask most fighters, they'll tell you how good to them that he has been. That type of money that they've helped him make, and the person that he's paid, and the guidance that he's offered.
Floyd Mayweather Jr. was long recognized for his extravagant lifestyle, constantly flaunting luxury and projecting an image of limitless wealth and financial power. However, according to the Boxing Ago host, the reality behind the scenes may be starkly different. The analyst notes a surprising financial setback, highlighting ongoing legal action Floyd Mayweather Jr. has initiated against key business partners. Throughout his career, Mayweather maintained strong relationships with influential figures like Steven Espinoza and platforms such as Showtime. These alliances were instrumental in generating huge fight revenues and worldwide fame. Yet, the current lawsuit, reportedly valued at $340 million, alleges that substantial earnings were never fully received.
We are going to go through in this video. Now, I've been covering boxing for double-digit years. Allow me to take you through it. A simple Google search shows Floyd Mayweather. You type in his name, you're going to see some fight photos and whatnot. But the top stories, and there's multiple stories, and we're going to take a look at some of them. But as mentioned, Business Insider is now reporting what you see on the screen, that Floyd Mayweather is being accused in lawsuits of owing millions of dollars for luxury watches, gold, and rent on palatial apartment, right? The bullet points. Floyd was sued for allegedly failing to pay rent.
This scenario brings into focus critical issues surrounding financial management, contract clarity, and strategic planning in professional boxing. The gap between Mayweather's former public image and his current legal battles paints a picture that surprises many fans. What once looked like absolute financial mastery now appears more complex, highlighting that even the most successful athletes can encounter uncertainty when business arrangements are opaque.
And this sum represents the $500K, $500,000 in arrears plus late fees minus a deposit that Mayweather paid at the start of the lease and the $100,000 catch-up payment. So they deducted what he did submit when he was made aware of this, the $100K, and I guess a deposit. So the remaining balance is that. An attorney for Mayweather did not provide a comment by deadline. He has not responded to the lawsuit in court. In a separate legal matter, so we've already went over one with this luxury condo in Manhattan, right? But a separate legal matter, a Miami jeweler sued Floyd Mayweather last month, alleging the boxer owes more than $1 million for jewelry that he took but never paid for.
Coach Malachi details that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is engaged in a significant legal battle, alleging that approximately $340 million was lost or mishandled in dealings with Steven Espinoza at Showtime. He points out that the way these agreements were structured may have shielded certain individuals, particularly Al Haymon. If the contract terms are as written, Malachi explains, it clarifies why Al Haymon is not named in the lawsuit.
If that's in the contract, guess what? Al Haymon is clear. And now it explains why Floyd don't have Al Haymon in the lawsuit. He can't sue him.
Come on, man.
Al covered his tracks. Now, he may be getting sued by big corporations, stuff like that, but he's not being sued by any fighter. They can't sue him. You get what I'm saying? Floyd Mayweather messed up. And adds insult to injury, Floyd Mayweather has a gambling problem and he spends a lot of money. He loves to spend money. So whatever he have that's in his possession, he's spending that and blowing that on top of the $340 million that he said that's owed to him. Meaning that he never really got paid from the Manny Pacquiao and Conor McGregor fight.
Come on, man.
Al Haymon got power of attorney. You dig? And he covered his tracks. So shout out to the brother man, Al Haymon. You did a good job, Al.
The discussion emphasizes the complexity of financial agreements in boxing, which can shield key individuals from legal repercussions. Malachi also notes that personal financial habits matter, highlighting Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s high spending, gambling, and luxurious lifestyle. Even while pursuing claims for unpaid earnings from major fights, including those against top opponents, money management remains a concern. The situation reflects a combination of contractual strategies and personal financial choices, creating a complicated interplay of business and lifestyle within the sport.
You've been praising him and worshiping him. Continue to praise him and worship him then. You get what I'm saying? You dig? True. And another thing, let's thank Al Haymon.
Well, you know, I guess I gotta be like everybody else and thank Al Haymon.
That's what y'all been doing. You pro Al Haymon and PBC YouTube channels, and a lot of you fan bases online. That's what you've been doing. Continue to praise him then. Al is a smart businessman. He finessed the game. Let's give Al Haymon a round of applause. Good job, Al. You did a good job. And this is a lesson to all of those out there, you know, who think because you signed with the black man that you will not be taken advantage of and the white man is the evil devil. If that's your position, there ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem with however you feel either way. But just understand, when someone wants to steal from you, they don't recognize color.
Tasha K highlights that despite Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s outward display of immense wealth, the true financial picture can be much more complicated. High earnings don't always guarantee full financial security, particularly when hidden obligations, ongoing deals, and delayed payments are involved. According to Tasha K, these unseen pressures can accumulate over time, putting even the most seemingly successful individuals in challenging situations.
Because you was too distracted spending. And when you see somebody like Floyd Mayweather, that's the oldest trick in the book, y'all. Y'all know. When y'all see somebody flogging money everywhere, they got this, they got that, they got this. Was it Gervonta Davis? Tank told us 2 years ago that the reason they held Floyd Mayweather, you can put it back on the screen, captain, in Dubai is because he had owed them money and they wouldn't release him until he announced the fight to give them their money back. You know they do that over there in Dubai, right? You ain't going nowhere if you owe a debt. He was trapped over there for almost 2 months, according to Gervonta. They shared the same manager, Al Layman, who collected money in cash because Floyd Mayweather gave him a power of attorney to do so. And so when Floyd went down there and sued Showtime, he's suing Showtime, the company, the network, that publicizes these fights.
She points out a common financial pitfall: spending freely while obligations quietly pile up. In Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s case, constant displays of luxury may suggest endless wealth, but behind the image lie high expenses, investments, and commitments that demand steady cash flow. When income slows or fluctuates, these obligations can create pressure. Tasha K emphasizes that true wealth depends not just on earnings, but on effective financial management. Without careful planning, even massive fortunes can become strained, showing how overextension can quietly turn success into stress.
They gave his money in cash to his manager, Al Layman, and Al Layman spent the money. The Muslim in the bow tie spent the money. You see a man coming and he a Muslim in a bow tie, he's spending your money. Oh, it's gone. It's good, it's gone. You know they send the Nation of Islam down there. You seen the Muhammad Ali story? Don't act like you ain't seen that. Nation of Islam was all up over there. They were all up over Floyd Mayweather's fights and bank accounts and stuff. And so he received it in cash, and Floyd Mayweather is saying he's missing it and how dare Showtime gives him the money without his permission. He was like, well, wait a minute, but you gave him permission. Yeah, but I didn't tell y'all, I told him. So he's trying to use a way to get in there so he can hold him responsible because he know he's not going to get the money back from the Nation of Islam at all. That money gone. That money gone.
Paulie Mullen Aji explains that much of the attention on Floyd Mayweather Jr. stems from how openly he showcased his wealth during his career. According to Malin I, if his finances had stayed private, far fewer people would be questioning his situation now. The continual display of luxury fueled curiosity and scrutiny from fans and analysts alike. Over time, Mayweather cultivated a public persona focused on wealth, frequently showing off expensive cars, private jets, and large sums of cash.
Everybody was seeing how much Floyd was making, right? And Floyd himself was flaunting himself like he was the guy who was making that kind of money. And for all intents and purposes, I assume he was. Everybody assumed he was, and it seemed like he thought he was because he wasn't complaining. He was showing off, you know? This is why, as I get older, I feel like, and everybody always tells you this when you're young, like, keep your finances private. You know, and this is why I think this is a big reason why. First and foremost, you notice that if you don't keep your finances private, everybody and their mothers ask you for money constantly. And they don't ask you for...
That happens either way.
And they don't ask you... Well, people assume you have money, but if you flaunt it, you definitely... They confirm you have money. And they don't ask you for money like you need to buy the Rolex or the Lamborghini. They'll guilt you into it. They need their mother's dying in the hospital. They need to pay for a funeral. Their kid is sick.
While this approach boosted his brand, it also meant that any change in financial stability would draw immediate attention. Malin Aji notes that this visibility has prompted questions not just about his current finances, but also about past money management and investment choices. The focus isn't solely on whether he is broke, but on the perception shaped by years of public displays. When someone projects limitless wealth, any shift becomes highly noticeable. Malin Aji suggests that greater financial privacy could have minimized such speculation, but now every action is closely scrutinized, sparking ongoing debate about his decisions, investments, and long-term planning.
I don't know, honestly, but offhand, you're asking me what my thoughts are offhand. I can never, listen, when I had a lot of money, I was a lot of times spending more, and I wasn't tracking every single cent, right? I mean, I was kind of reckless. I was young. I was, a pro athlete. I went from having nothing to having a bunch of money. So yeah, I'm not always tracking it as well as I should. But bro, if I'm missing a lot of difference money, if there's a huge difference, I'm gonna track it automatically just because it's so obvious. 340 million, no matter how much money you're making, 340 million does not slip through the cracks like you said.
Third of $1 billion.
It's not, I don't know. Like, there's guys who have a lot of money, okay? For me, I could go into a jewelry store, spend 20,000 at the time, like nothing. Like, you know what? I didn't plan on going there. I bought a Ferrari. I went with my friend to go check out a Ferrari he was gonna buy.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.